What's going on, YouTube? Logan Prater here, back for another video. This time we're going to be kind of recapping kind of my favorite releases from 2020. Um, Man, what a ride fucking 2020 was. I mean, of course, with all the pandemic and the civil rights issues and just Kobe dying and just it was kind of a shit year from that kind of perspective. But personally, I mean, of course, all that stuff did kind of take a toll on me, kind of mentally. But I mean, I had a pretty decent year. If you kind of push all that to the side, kind of if you push all that kind of stress to the side, I started working this year, got a girlfriend. Shout out to Ashley, love you. Um, but and then yeah, and I also listened to a lot of killer albums. I probably kept up the best this year with new releases coming out. I mean, I probably listened to over somewhere between 50 and 75 new albums this year, which I think I've never done that many before. I've kind of at least was like, all right, I need to listen to at least you know two new releases a month, and of course the rest was change, and there was a lot of change this year. If you go by that, but anyways, so I didn't really I kind of made a list of my favorite albums, and I didn't really rank them. I ranked my top five, and we'll get to my top five towards the end of the video. But first, I just want to give some shout outs to albums I really enjoyed, but just didn't, quite make that top five, but they're still really great albums. First, I want to start out with some local stuff. So, starting out this list, we have a local Knoxville band called Uberserker with their self titled EP that came out in October. Just some really great black and thrash. You can find it on YouTube and Bandcamp and all that. Check it out, Uberserker with their self titled demo. Moving on, we're going to go to another local band, and they put out two releases this year that I want to give a shout out to. And the band is called, and I struggle pronouncing this name. I think you pronounce it Apocryphetic. I'll leave the names and of the bands and albums down in the description. But Apocryphetic with their Through Cruelty is our Ascension to Paradise demo. It came out in January, and then their Heir to the Cosmos EP that came out in December. So kind of late in the year. But yeah, just some really good death metal from Knoxville, and actually the vocalist for Uberserker does vocals for Apocryphetic too, and yeah, just some really great death metal. Check it out. They've also had two demos that came out last year that I would also recommend checking out. But yeah, Apocryphetic with their Through Cruelty is our Ascension to Paradise demo and their Heir to the Cosmos EP. Moving on to outside kind of the local scene, I want to highlight two. Well, there's actually more than two EPs that I want to talk about, but there's two that I want to make honorable mention of. I guess that's a spoiler for the top five. But anyways, there's two EPs I want to give mention to. The Mark Morton Ether EP from January, the guitarist for Lamb of God. Really fun EP, and that was like one of the first releases I checked out this year. And then Mulla, they're a French black metal band and everything's in Arabic. I found them through Travis from Lyricide 17. He was talking about this album earlier this year, and this EP came out in April, so check that out too. Moving on to some honorable mentions for the albums, there's a lot of these. So first, I want to talk about the album from Lucifer, Lucifer 3. It came out in March of this year. Just some really good, kind of new wave of traditional heavy metal. And keeping with that theme, the Satllion with their album Slaves of Time. It came out in February. Some more good kind of new wave of traditional heavy metal. And so yeah, Satllion with Slaves of Time. Testament with their newest album, Titans of Creation. This one came out in April. Some really good thrash. Really, Testament's really been killing it for the last I mean, probably the better part of this decade, all their albums have been really good, I've thought. But yeah, Testament with Titans of Creation. Moving on to some pirate metal, I'm gonna go with Alestorm. Um, Curse of the Crystal Coconut. This one came out in May. Just some really fun kind of fun pirate metal, if you want to say that. That just some really good kind of uh, drinking music, I guess. But yeah, Alestorm, Curse of the Crystal Coconut. Um, Something that's not metal. Me and That Man. New Man, New Song, Same Shit, Volume 1. This is their second release, and it's Nurgle from Behemoth. It's his kind of folky, bluesy kind of side project, so check that one out. Um, Caustic Wound with their album Death Posture. Just some really good kind of grindy, well, I guess it's more kind of death grindcore kind of stuff. It came out in April. Check that one out. Ensiferum with their album Thalassic. This one came out in July. Some really good kind of folk metal, I guess, kind of melodic death metal, folk metal, that kind of stuff. Avatar with their album Hunter Gatherer. This one came out in August. Some really good. I don't even know where to kind of put this, but it's pretty good. And actually, their last kind of, I guess, 4 or 5 albums, in my opinion, have been really good. So check Avatar out, and especially their new album Hunter Gatherer. Um, I guess this is the first death metal I've mentioned, maybe, unless you want to consider Caustic Wound death metal. Incantation with their newest album, Sect of Vile Divinities. This one came out in August. Just some really solid death metal from a really solid band. Check it out. Midnight with their album, Rebirth by Blasphemy. This one came out in January. Some really good kind of uh, blackened speed, blackened thrash metal. Just really solid stuff. They never disappoint. Some more death metal. Necrot with their album Mortal. This one came out in August. Yeah, check that shit out. Some good modern death metal. Night, the band Night with their album High Tides, Distant Skies. This one came out in September. Just some really good. I guess they kind of started out as like a new wave of traditional heavy metal band, but they're more kind of going in a kind of 70s rock direction, and this album is kind of the album that got them fully into that sound. So yeah, that Night with High Tides, Distant Skies, check it out. And then we're gonna go with some more black metal. Hell Moon with Undying Blackened Glory. This one came out in April. Just some really solid black metal that it's out of Winnipeg, Canada, I think, somewhere in Canada. I'm not sure, but Hell Moon, Undying Blackened Glory. Check it out. And then moving to kind of a more psychedelic kind of mood with Hell Spirit Noir with their album Eden in Reverse. This one came out in June. Some really good kind of psychedelic, proggy rock stuff. I think Matt from The Dark Path was talking about this one, and he kind of described it as like, that kind of like that Black Magic SS band, but like without all the stupid Nazi bullshit. So yeah, Hell Spirit Noir, check their album out. And then ending off the honorable mentions with 2 death metal bands. We got Gorephilia with In the Eye of Nothing. This one came out in October, and it's some really good kind of, I think, Liam over at the Death Doom Metalhead, he kind of described it as like kind of morbid angel-y. But yeah, check out the new Gorephilia. And finally, Deeds of Flesh with their album Nucleus. This one came out in December, and just some really solid kind of technical, brutal kind of death metal. But yeah, Deeds of Flesh with Nucleus. So now we're going to move on to my top 5 releases from this year. Hopefully this video isn't going to be more than about 15 minutes. I'm trying to kind of keep it short and sweet for you guys. All right. So, got them written down here in my notes. So, we're going to start with number 5, and we're going to go with Warbringer with their album Weapons of Tomorrow. This one came out in April. And, yeah, just, I mean, I think this year more than any year that I've noticed, it's been a really great year for thrash metal with like the new Warbringer and Testament and Stallion's kind of thrashy, the new Havoc, and I think Warbringer is the best out of that bunch of really great thrash releases to come out this year. Um, yeah, I really loved their last album, and this one's kind of like what was that one called? Woe to the Vanquish. This is kind of Woe to the Vanquish Part 2, but there's nothing wrong with that because that album fucking ruled. But yeah, check that one out. Warbringer, Weapons of Tomorrow. If you don't check out any other thrash record, check that one out. Moving on to number 4, we're going to go with a very new band. Actually, this is their first kind of release. They had a few singles come out, but this is like their actual first official release other than a single, and it's the band Cobra Spell with their album Love Venom, or not album, EP called Love Venom. This one came out in September, and this one's I believe they're out of like Belgium or the Netherlands or somewhere in there. It's got two female guitarists and a female bass player, and yeah, they fucking rule, man. And this EP is just fucking awesome. It's kind of like new wave of traditional metal. It's got a little bit of AOR, glam metal in it too. But yeah, really solid stuff. Can't wait to see what that band does. Cobra Spell with the Love Venom EP. Moving on to number 3, and this band, I think I wore a shirt of this album um, um, in one of my past videos. And also a disclaimer, I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I don't have any of these albums on physical release, but I've bought all of them digitally. I just felt kind of weird, ordering a lot of these albums once the pandemic got started. It just didn't feel necessary for me to order a lot of them. But yeah, just a disclaimer for that. So moving on, number 3, I wore a shirt of this album earlier in one of my early videos, but we're gonna go with Haunt with their album Mind Freeze. This album came out in January, and just again some awesome kind of new wave of traditional heavy metal. These guys are out of I want to say Portland, Oregon. I know it's somewhere in Oregon, but I'm not sure what city. I want to say it's Portland, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Haunt with Mind Freeze, awesome new wave of traditional heavy metal. Check that shit out. Moving on to number 2, and this one, this album or EP, I would consider it more of an album because it's 32 minutes long. But this release came out in November, and it very quickly shot up my list to the top. But that is Stormkeep with their album Galdrum. This one came out in November, like I said, and just some really awesome melodic death metal, or not melodic death metal, sorry, melodic black metal out of Denver, Colorado. And they share members with a lot of bands from that scene, like Blood Incantation and that of other bands out of that scene. And yeah, just some really awesome melodic, I about said melodic death metal again, melodic black metal that, yeah, when it snowed, I guess right around Christmas around here, I played that album fucking nonstop. But yeah, Stormkeep with Galdrum, good melodic black metal. Check it out. And now, for the album of the year, I guess we can get a little drum roll going here. And I think I said this on one of the streams, but I'm not sure. But anyways, that is Ambush, the band Ambush, with their album Infidel. This one came out in March, and it is a fucking ripping ass fucking album. Again, I think I've listened to, thanks to, I think I mentioned him earlier, Travis over at Lyricist 17. Thanks to him, I've really gotten into a lot of these new wave of traditional heavy metal bands this year, like Stallion and Ambush and Lucifer and Haunt, and, the list goes on. Those are some of my favorites. But, yeah, just this album is like if you took, like, Dawkins and Priest and you, like, molded them or melded, whatever I'm trying to say. You, like, smashed them together. that's what it sounds like to me, and it's just fucking awesome. The title track on there is awesome. The song Hellbiter, um, Leave Them to Die is fucking awesome. Lust for Blood, I think, is the name of that song. But yeah, just check out that whole fucking album. If you don't check out any other albums from this video, go check. Excuse me, I fucking burped there. Go check that fucking album out. Ambush, Infidel. So there you fucking have it, guys. There's some of my favorite albums from this year with the top five. So yeah, just to recap the top five: Warbringer, Weapons of Tomorrow; Cobra Spell with Love Venom, the EP; Haunt with Mind Freeze; Stormkeep with the Galdrum EP, although it's more like a full length; and then Ambush with Infidel, full length. Yeah, go check all those out, and I'll also leave all the other albums I mentioned down in the description as well, and plus these. But yeah, go check everything out, and I know there's a lot of stuff I missed, but and if you have any albums that I didn't mention that you maybe think I should check out, leave them down below because I'm always looking for new music to listen to. And so, yeah, here's to another. 2020 was a great year for music, and let's hope 2021 is another great year for music. So stay healthy, guys. Keep it metal, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.